Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Small Reviews, and today we are going over House of the Dragons. Now, to start off, there will be spoiler warning, so if you don't want to get spoiled, you should leave or watch the series and come right back. But there will be spoiler warning, so be prepared. Now, to start off with, I've never watched Game of Thrones, so I haven't watched Game of Thrones, and this is my first experience with any of the lore, any of the show whatsoever. Never played any games. I barely know who the characters are. I just know like the name Jon Snow, stuff like that. But I have no idea what he does in the show or what anybody does in either of the shows. So this was really interesting and unique to me. Now to start off, the plot, the Game of Thrones as it is very interesting. Like seeing Viserys and seeing Viserys try to get his new heir, but he obviously doesn't have any male children to actually take up the throne. So he has to have his first daughter, Rhaenyra, take up the throne. And this whole game of trying to play politics is just very interesting because people will not accept her as the heir because she's a woman. But then also she is the clear choice as heir because Viserys, the king, chose her as heir. And seeing everybody's reactions and how they actually play off of each other and what they do and how they scheme is definitely the most interesting part of the show. I thought it was gonna be like the drama, and there's a bunch of drama in here, and I love it. But the chess game in here, specifically in House of Dragons, is crazy. I mean, you have players like Daemon, Rhaenyra, Viserys, Alicent, the I mean, Otto Hightower. Like everybody trying to do what they need to survive, but also make sure they're safe and get who they want on the throne. Because sometimes it isn't even them, and that's one of the most interesting parts: seeing the fallout of people's decisions. And I would say that this is definitely where season one hooked me. This is also going to be a season one and season two review, but this is where season one definitely hooked me. Kind of within the first half hour, seeing how people reacted to hearing Rhaenyra was going to be the heir to the throne and why they didn't agree, who they really wanted on the throne, what was happening. Like the seeds were already being planted, and it was beautiful. And then, of course, as it goes on, there's some weird stuff in there. Like, there's so much Sweet Home Alabama stuff, and I'm just like, why? Like, I understand it's the medieval ages, stuff like that. Like, it's dark times, like, all that stuff. It's kind of around that type of setting with the knights, with the jousting, as you see in the first episode, which was very cool, honestly. But it's around that time, and this is kind of what they did, make sure the blood is pure, royal blood, etc., all that stuff. So they kept it in the family. So, yeah, it was really interesting to see, especially how these affected the family dynamics. Because in the first scene itself, I mean, you see Viserys doesn't want to be on the throne, and what's her name? I think her name's like Rhaena, something like that. But the queen who never was, she should have been on the throne because, like Rhaenyra, she was the firstborn and therefore the heir to the throne in a sense. But because she's not a man, this definitely doesn't happen. And I actually love a lot of the character writing in this because the thing about this that a lot of I watch a lot of like anime and stuff like that, and sometimes there's not the best character writing all around, but this show thrives on character writing, like in general. But in general, it thrives on the character writing of this show, and each character, what they want, who they are, what they've been up to, is all important to the decisions they make and what they will do. Like for instance, Damon being thought of himself. For instance, Damon always thought of himself as better than Viserys in a way, like the stronger brother, the one who actually wanted the throne. He thought he was the better option for King, and yet he's not the one who ended up with the throne. So seeing all of that inside of him and all that kind of jealousy and how he fiends for the throne still, but he actually just cannot get it, and that's actually the reason why he can't because he wants it so bad, is interesting. And seeing the choices and how he tries to manipulate situations so that he can get what he wants. But yet we all know that he'll never get the throne. So it's very interesting to see how exactly the events of this story affected the characters in such a serious and sometimes realistic way, where they're trying to hide it or they go out, they hide from it in different ways, they have denial, they run from it, and everybody in the show runs from their responsibilities in different ways. Like whether they go out to the drinking, whether they go to the brothel, whether they decide to just kill people. Everybody has a bunch of different ways how they deal with stuff, and that's why I love these characters, because everybody is flawed in their own ways, but still has things about them that actually make them cool characters and really interesting to watch. Sometimes you can have characters where they are flawed, but they really have nothing else to put in the show, and those are flat characters. There's not many flat characters in this show at all, and because of that and the plot, it always left me wanting more, especially in season one. Season one, I binged through that so quickly because the drama gets you, the characters get you, and everything just grips you, and you end up at the end of the season. Has 10 episodes, I believe, or 9 episodes, and it's they're long episodes, but you'll be clamoring for more at the end of it. And so that's why we'll get into season two. I say season one was a very, very strong start. That's the whole reason I want to talk about this. Because now, after season one, I am super invested in this Game of Thrones stuff. Like, I've heard of stuff like The Long Winter, The Bloody Wedding. I, again, have no idea whatsoever what any of it means. So don't spoil me. Don't spoil other people. Because I don't know what that means. I just know there's probably, like, a lot of blood and, winter's probably cold. So yeah, but that's what got me into this season one and got me wanting to talk about this. But going into season two, my expectations for the show went a little bit lower because in the first couple episodes, um, Rhaenyra and Daemon have like a lover spat because Daemon always, like I said, wanted the throne, and now that he's married to Rhaenyra as the king consort, it in a way makes it so he has the throne, but he still wants it so bad, which is interesting because it clearly like is part of his downfall. It's a very flawed part of his character, obviously. The jealousy of wanting the throne but knowing you're not the right person on the throne, and him playing this kind of hot cold with whether he's right or wrong and what he does, and clearly most of the time he's wrong. He's a very interesting character to watch because he does the most ludicrous things. That's one thing I'll say about Daemon. But but in the beginning of season two, he leaves to go off to some place to raise an army, and this is where I started to be like, okay, this show still very interesting, but it definitely has some missteps in season two, a lot more than it did in season one. Season one was literally like a full complete package. Season two is the setup for like season three, and you can definitely feel that because oh boy, when Damon left and he ended up at that castle, that was the most jarring scenes, especially in the beginning, because it just flashed here, flashed here. You could barely tell what was going on. So every time we got chimed into Damon, it was just very confusing for me. And it's like it made sense eventually, like I thought it would. Like I was confident they'd make it make sense, but it wasn't really easy to watch for those first couple episodes when we got to Damon because you had a slight um understand what was probably going on. Like, the place is probably cursed, which it was, but then nothing is really explained to you, and you're there for short periods of time, and you don't even get that information about it being cursed till like 4 episodes in to Damon already being there. So it was, I don't know. And I didn't think I would focus so much on Damon in this review, but he probably is like the most interesting character in the show, I would say, just because of his dynamics with like most of the characters. Um, so he's like a nice through line because he connects to everybody, like no matter what generation, Viserys generation, Rhaenyra's, or this new one that's gonna be coming up. Obviously, he's connected to all of it, and it's very obvious how. Yeah, he's probably one of the most interesting characters. I love Rhaenyra and everything too, and all the characters are pretty good. But they're definitely the two that you focus on the most, other than Allison and her knight. I forget his name right now, but that guy, that knight guy, he's so worried about his white cloak, and that man has thrown that in the dirt like 17 times. It's like, why are you still talking about your white cloaks, man? It's like, why are you still talking about your white capes, man? It's like, it's been dirty. You dirtied it with the princess. You dirtied it with Allison. Who knows what you be doing? I don't know why you so worried about it. Like, man was about to like off himself before Allison like saved him when Rhaenyra left. But it's like, yo, this man was kind of right. He just kind of be soiling his cape, man. It's like, this man don't got no honor at all. His man's fucking off on the job all the time. It's like, dang, nah, man. It's like, you gotta pick a role. What you doing? It's like, at least Damon got some, like, balls, and like, Damon's not a good guy. Damon's not a good guy, but it's like, at least he's confident in what he does. This guy isn't confident. He does it, and then he's like, "Oh my god, how could I do it? Why would I do it? No!" It's like, oh my god, whatever. So I think he's actually one of my least favorite characters. Like, he's interesting to watch what he does, but it's like the moves he makes. I'm just like, oh my god, not okay, whatever, fine. And yeah, but all the characters extremely interesting to watch. But season two sets up the incredible season three. I'm hoping, because the stuff they've set up is phenomenal. I mean, there's supposed to be so many battles, so much conflict. Honestly, I'd have to guess that either this third season coming up is going to be the last season, or we're going to have like two more, because we're going to have this season of all of these outcomes, and then we're going to have maybe like another season set up, and then like a final season. I don't see this going on too long. That's why I'm like, maybe third season and the final, and then or the fifth season will be the last one. I don't think we're going to get just 4 seasons, but honestly, I kind of hope we just get three, because I want to start Game of Thrones, because I know this is a prelude, which is why I'm watching it first and why I'm very excited. I know this is a prelude, and it makes me more excited to watch seasons 1 through 6 of Game of Thrones, because I know 7 and 8 are trash. That's all I've heard. That's the only thing I know. I'm very excited, so I cannot wait. I cannot wait. But before I go, I just wanna say like a couple of cool things I thought about this show. Like, the CGI is amazing. The CGI is actually phenomenal. It blends in so well. The dragons look so fucking good. The dragons look so good. It's crazy that this is like a show and not like a movie. Like, the dragons look crazy good. And all the scenes with them look crazy good. The CGI goes crazy most of the time, like to the point where you're like, this really looks like real life. Like, not even like CGI, like just good CGI. It looks like it could actually be real. Like, I actually really like it, and I was really impressed by the dragons. I hope they never change. I hope it just keeps going up, because that's one of the. I didn't watch Game of Thrones, so I didn't see all the CGI and stuff. Maybe it's incredible in there too, but man, I was blown away by the CGI in House of Dragon so far. On the dragon specifically, chef's kiss. But yeah, I just really wanted to talk about House of Dragons, because I just got caught up. I can't wait till the third season. Once the third season comes out, I'm definitely going to be reviewing episode by episode, so I'll talk more about the characters that everybody loves. Like, I didn't even talk about Aim. Yo, Allison's boys, there's something else. There's something else. Like, Eamon, I think Eamon's the one with the eye patch. He is nuts, and I love it. He's like a mini Damon. He is nuts. Like, he when he burned his brother the king, it's like, yeah, when he burned Aegon, burned him out the sky and killed his dragon. I was like, yo, that's a bold move. I knew you was gonna make it, but it's like, that's a bold move. You really gonna go home, tell your mom, yeah, I don't know what happened. He just fell out the sky. and now I'm king. That's crazy. And that's what I mean about these chess moves and like how these people play. It's so interesting to see people play so ruthless and like to just see all of it. Like unlike the real world, to see people like just play ruthless and see everything, not just the result, not just the desire for it, but to see all the petty moves they make, all the thinking that they have to do. It's just crazy. And that's what I like about the show. I love how it's a thinking and acting show. You get the action, but you also get the drama and the thinking that goes into it. Because you can have drama without like there actually being much thinking going into it, like just by characters making stupid decisions. I say that's pretty superficial. But this is good drama with stakes where people actually are thinking of like how can I outmaneuver the other person. That's what I love to see, like a mental chess battle and a physical chess battle. Because I mean, they're actually playing with these troops and these dragons. It's all about positioning, all about how can we intimidate the other castle to get what we want, or how's this blockade work to our advantage? How can we get rid of the blockade? What are the people within the castle walls gonna think? It's like it's so incredible to see how this affects all of these different facets of their lives, and not just like the blatantly, oh, we're at war or gonna be at war in this case. And I love it. But I'm also very interested to see how all of this connects to Game of Thrones, and that's why I can't wait for season 3, and then for House of Dragons to be over and me to get on the Game of Thrones because I want to see how all of this connects. Like I know I've heard about the Long Winter. They're already talking about stuff like that right now, in like Aegon's prophecy and everything like that. The Song of Wind and Fire, the Song of Ice and Fire. So like I can't wait to see how all of this connects. But until then, until season 3, you probably won't hear from me again about House of Dragons or Game of Thrones. But until then, I can't wait, and I hope you stay with us so that we can watch it together and review it together. But I'll catch y'all later. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and peace out.